Okay.
That's why I was thinking the first one might
Once
get
they
it.
figured it out, I would just do it if they didn't.
do like that.
You guys having conversations? That's not the official meeting.
I do like the thing,
Cupola is everywhere.
And I think he got a picture of that this weekend. Yeah.
Don't think
It was fine until Marshawn touched it.
I like both of them. Just some more-
He was like, you gotta talk to your brother or something like that now.
We're recording.
You are?
Now you get all quiet. And it's like,
I feel bad because I can't see this gentleman in the audience. I feel. Huh? I know. We're not going to let Nicole go unless she finds a good replacement. So,
And you know,
I guess we'll call this meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Parham. Day.
Here.
Leak.
Here.
Larson.
Here.
Edwards.
Here.
Zimnock.
here,
Okay, we got a full house. Typically, we have a citizens' time for anybody who has any concerns with ARB at this point. Anybody in the audience? Good. Okay, we'll move on to minute approval then.
Make a motion to approve the minutes from October 21st. I make a motion to approve the minutes from October 21st.
I got a motion.
I second.
Nope, all you, ma'am.
I'll third.
I got a motion and a second.
I'll take it.
He officially second.
Any comments? Yeah, I was reading this over earlier, and then I saw COA all the way in the back. It's like, there they are. I was wondering where they went.
Looks good.
Okay, everyone's done kind of looking through it real quick? Okay, no discussion then. We'll go to, I guess, vote. All in favor of passing October minutes? Yeah.
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, we got approval for the minutes. Now we'll move on to certificate of appropriateness, but lo and behold, we have an empty schedule for that today. So we'll pass right by that agenda item and go to town council update.
Well, it's been very busy. That's really bad to do that when we're being recorded.
Quiet out there, we're having a meeting here.
Okay, the town council's been very busy. Thank you to Nicole and Robert who came and spoke. They were discussing the Harover property. So far, it looks like we're going to keep the one house where the food pantry is, and then either try to, first they're going to try and sell the second one and see if someone will come take it, and then otherwise they'll salvage so they'll be coming, the council will send a request to us eventually, maybe for demolition or to see. And then, what else, Marshawn?
regarding Harvard? Well, there's still, or it's not the end of the
Right.
story. They came up with a recommendation, which was to remove the police station and keep food pantry building, a smaller footprint,
To take off all the additions on it and just,
2 additions on the back. And the desire was to have restroom facilities there and storage. Question about using that building as a community space. To do that, but to use that, at least in the interim, for the storage for the current facility. They also directed the pavilion, may remember the pavilion.
oh, look at that!
The director was to take the pavilion, turn it sideways, and move it up of the hill. Which, thinking about it, just kind of putting it at the top of the hill, you're already able to see kind of both sides. And it's interesting. This parking lot was asked to be moved back. This feature was keeping the chimney from the police station. And rather than having a hardscape in the amphitheater, split and then have this be more of a dedicated open space.
Smaller parking, minimal parking.
Focus on parking. I was quickly reminded by the town engineer that
More walk to.
we'll have to address parking without being the site plan. And there's a connector to the
Baptist Church.
Baptist Church. So the amendments that I just talked about are supposed to go back to the consultant, who's supposed to go over the master plan, have the council officially adopt that plan, and then they'll move forward with the applications for the demolition or the sale. The question came up that if you were to sell the building to someone, would it require a hearing? Also discussions about moving the garage in the back and also some of the outbuildings along the one side. There is a small well house behind the police station that was a project to repurpose the wood out of that and make some sort of bench. So once the council does that, they're also going to do phasing. Obviously, the priority is the town hall. Some suggestions we had made, a lot of the ones you guys put together. And I will compliment you of all the groups that reviewed this. You guys had the most comprehensive analysis. Like well, the ARB wants to save everything. I said, no, that's not correct. What the ARB suggested was the preference based on policy was to utilize both at a sequential
Prioritized.
priority.
Yeah.
So I don't think anyone said from hell or high water the buildings will be saved. It was based on charge and their role. You won't accuse me of that. I was going to tie myself to the building.
Marchant and I were. He was on one us, I was on the other.
So, but I think it was a good compromise, and definitely more so than previous, since we've owned it, to have a nice comprehensive vision that reaches the gamut of all the people that are involved. So I think it's a good plan. It's going to evolve. Much like this plan evolved, it's going to evolve. So stay tuned.
And the person who owns the firehouse, what's his name?
Sergio.
Sergio.
Sergio Zizios.
Yes, Sergio Zizios. He has expressed an interest in demolishing what's there. So we thought he was going to come before us tonight, but he did not. Obviously, he's not here. So stay tuned. His plan, as he expressed it to us, was to create a building that was very expressed that a firehouse, like in that theme, but he just said there's too much asbestos, and so anyway, we'll see. We'll see.
I did go in a firehouse over the weekend when the doors was open.
Did you just lurk outside buildings and wait for someone to leave the door open?
No, it was open. We didn't want kids going in there. Perfect for that. I did go in there. Sergio said it's very mold. Well, there's two things there. One, these buildings, a lot of these buildings have been vacant for 15, 20 years. They're going to be musty, going to be moldy, they're not going to be something that's a turnkey environment. So a lot of times people say, well, I have to gut it. Well, that's because the buildings are good. Okay? The bones are good. I've had multiple people, talking with local people that have assessed the building, and it is a utilitarian cinder block building. I met Tony Dufresne over the weekend, who at one point had some leadership there, and he said it's a time. But I did go in, there's some neat architectural features, but Unlike some of the other unique architecture we have in town, I would probably concede that maybe it's not the most wise use of money. That's something that has an interesting history just because it was the first firehouse in western Prince William County. We pillaged the sign from it. Siren that was on the top, call box.
That's all in the museum, right?
The museum, the time capsule.
Mm-hmm.
We also found a license plate when we used to have the license plates and the decals. Demonstration. It's a fire chief on it. So we got all those kind of remnants of it. It tells the story of some oral histories about it. And just wants to build something to replicate the firehouse. Question of the bungalow, I think, is a different story. Kind of like what we did with the Hanover plan, where you split the baby. And, maybe it didn't make sense to keep them both, and maybe one. Here, I think there's an opportunity to use that bungalow. Maybe it's like a tasting room for his winery. Come in, gut it, open up the porch again, and create that nice reverse.
And the bungalow is facing Jefferson?
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
I think his initial plan was to do 2 phases. The concept he had come forward with was replace or tear down the firehouse, rebuild, keeping that concept and generally the same footprint, doing a outdoor dining on the top floor so that you can see over mountains. Focus more on that building. The bungalow, there's probably some opportunities. Second phase will be a second building. I think that's something as an ARB you'll be able to
No, that's okay.
So the council's very interested in moving forward with that. Some talk of maybe sharing some costs of utility relocation. Parking is going to be a big issue with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's so integrated over there. Do you know who owns most of that parking area? Is it the
It's the old bank building.
Masons, or is it the Masons?
The bank building. The bank building is a 0 lot line. Its boundary is its Edmonds building. Essentially everything, and there's a parking lot on the east side of the firehouse.
Mm-hmm.
That's owned by the Petrucci family. It's a separate
Correct.
lot.
Oh, okay. It's
Petrucci,
not.
and that's what's used to serve the bank building.
Yeah.
All the gravel area from Washington Street all the way back past the bungalow to about within 15 feet of the Masonic Lodge is owned by Zizziash.
Okay.
Now, the lodge has used that property more or less for their parking purposes.
Yeah.
So, we encouraged him to try to get a hold of the lodge, get a hold of Petrucci, see if they can come together.
Shared parking.
Because the lodge owns all the way back. They own behind BB&T, basically between Jefferson and Madison. They own all that property.
Or tobaccoology is.
Yes, exactly. So, trying to do something that makes sense. Next challenge we've been asked to work on from the council is the Payne Lane property across the street. I'm getting in my plan report. We can talk about that.
No, go right ahead. No, go.
Before there was a contract on it, the contract period ended, developed the one left. The owner took it off the market, put it back on. Another group, there's a gentleman that came in and addressed the council, I believe, last week, wanting to look at possible restaurant locations in town. That was one of the sites he was referring to. But the council, one of the issues that Zizzia's had with the firehouse was the blighted buildings, the rest of the blighted buildings, and what would that do in terms of the pickle that we're in right now as before, is do you work with these owners with carrots and try to get them to, last time we approached them about remediating the property, you put it up for sale. So there's a considerable amount of expense for your blight ordinance, and so the council had the political will to fight it all the way to the end. So it felt like the more we could incentivize people to redevelop the property, that would be the better way to go. 2 folks that are interested in the property again, I have no indication of how fast they will move. Generally, it's kind of a scorched earth mentality. So, a couple things are happening there. Talking with Brian and the town attorney about enforcing the blight ordinance, and that's one of the things we have to do across the board. You do that, everyone that's got a blight property is going to get a nasty rate. And the resources to do it. The second part of it is maybe being proactive, going to those owners, as we talked before, I think with several of you, it's not likely to retain all the buildings. What are the ones that are worth, that have some architectural significance? Go to a developer and say, hey, we're willing to work with you, either increasing your building heights or working with you under parking so that you incorporate some of those. Talked about what's the Dawson building on the corner, the Dawson corner, Payne Lane, Jefferson.
I was calling it Payne House.
Payne House, and then
The general house.
there's a way no footprint. But you, in a way, the light ordinance is tied to you in your ARB ordinance. House of the building commissioner. Problem with the light ordinance, it doesn't mean you'll tear them down. If you go to say you got to secure the building, and they go and board it up and secure it, it doesn't fix it.
So does that make it look any better? I mean, that's the,
So
Put a
usually the
temporary
light ordinance
fence
says
around it.
health, safety, and welfare, and so if you secure it and mothball it and not to deteriorate, stave off deterioration, it doesn't desire to get rid of the building within this money.
and then finally, the last two things, I believe that Chick-fil-A and Sheetz, the finals are coming to the council for approval, so in December, so that should get moving.
Yep.
Your sign work, your sign.
Oh, yes, sorry.
I still hear from there,
No, you're good, brother.
so the sign work is coming forward. The one
We'll let
change-
Marshall do all our work right
Yeah.
now.
I'm only doing it in 15 minutes. Sign ordinance, the one change commission, two changes, one on temporary signs. Court case that came out and made it very difficult on how you define signs. The one sign that changed was the Foster sign. Mr. Cerny came in and talked about his Foster sign. People were recommending the commission adopt is to allow the sign that he has on the western facade, but not have that same sign on Washington Street facade.
Interesting.
That will be the recommendation of the commission. Emphasis was, I can't be seen from 15. So larger sign of 15, facing 15.
You're pretty far off 15. I mean,
But, so those are the changes that are coming. You'll still have authority over those applications. Comments of the commission were.
So when Haymarket Bicycle says they can't be seen.
I was just
I
about
was
to.
just about to s-
Are they
yeah.
going to put a sign right next to the Foster's the same size? And so when Yin Nails says that they can't be seen
Yeah.
from 15, are they going to stick the same size right
And
next
then when
to it?
Zizio wants a
And what
sign because
happens
he
when they
can't be
run out
seen
of
from
building
15?
and they can't put any more signs because there are 4 other people that are renting inside that building?
Well, those tenants have to go through the landlord of that building, and that landlord has given Foster's, I forget the wordage that he used, Mershant, you could help me, but pretty much since they are the anchor tenant within that building, just like on any type of commercial center or shopping center, your anchor tenant gets the most signage and the biggest signage. And so I believe the owner has spoken and said that he was only going to be letting Foster's have that signage on there. And so those tenants would have to go to the landlord, then with the landlord's permission per their lease, would then get permission from the landlord, then they could come to us.
That sign still needs to come to you. If the council ultimately adopts a standard that allows him to have one or both of those signs, the agreement that I made with him was that he has to come back to you. That's the risk of the cost we put in.
Right.
That was one of the issues where you allow it for one, you gotta allow it for all.
Exactly, and that's my concern.
And so there's two ways to look at it. Either, if not an anchor tenant, maybe say only the first floor tenants get that sign. So in theory, yes, you could have a hamburger, a bicycle, a guitar, and
And a Yin Nail.
a nail, painted nail, all on the same side of signs along the side of the building. Mike Cerny's argument was there's only so much building. It's a large space, but it's broken up by a lot of windows. So logistics of trying to fit that many signs of that size along the building would look
I had a question.
also too low. I think, to be frank.
Would they ever consider,
I don't really like the signs there, but since the landholders already told them that they can have, that Foster's can have a sign, and we run the risk of other tenants even wanting to have a sign up there also to represent themselves, would they even consider doing a collage type of signage so that it's not all splattered and all over the building? Because there really isn't that much space. How much more space can they use for a sign for each other business? Are they going to try to
That
do
would
the
be
same
considered a menu
signs, or-
sign, right?
Well, one of the options that came out was a painted sign, a mural, which is up to 15% of that facade, which done well could incorporate all, so Lindsay, the guy that owns the music store, his image was trying to do like art out front, try to capture or do something funky with all the different tenants.
Yeah.
And his idea was to have artwork along Washington Street,
Yeah, no.
where would be a guitar,
Yeah.
be a hamburger, be a bicycle, kind of do this local flavor. But yes, in theory, you could do like a mural or some sort of painted mural that incorporated all the logos or businesses. Only face you could really do that well if you're thinking of the west side is up on the right. Good line parking lot looking at the building, the only big mass is up on the right.
Yeah.
So.
But that's still, the sign ordinance still has to go to public hearing, correct?
Yes.
It does. We are going to bring it to you as well. It's going to go to hearing to the commission. So the code will bring it to you as well. And,
Council.
but one of the things with Cerny was, hey, I'm competing with all these businesses that are across the street. Chick-fil-A and Chiefs are coming in. So they asked for a larger sign type. Larger than what we allow now.
Who, Chick-fil-A or Sheetz or both?
Both.
Both you reviewed when the architecturals came through, you looked at the sign standard, I caveated saying signs are still subject to your review. Amendments to the ordinance to allow the higher sign. Board deaf yet?
No, I'm listening. I know exactly what you're talking about.
So, but yeah, that's kind of the considerations that are there. And I think I've had to point out to several folks that when I approve a permit, it doesn't get issued until you guys. Okay.
Okay. I'm good.
Any questions for Susan? Okay. I guess we can move on to the Planning Commission update.
So we held the public hearing for our signed ordinance zoning text amendment, and as Marchant said, we were making those two changes, and it's coming back to a public hearing at our next meeting. We also are going to be holding a public hearing for the amendment. The town council had approached us and asked us to review and consider making the proposal for an amendment to the planned land use map for those three homes here on Washington Street between St. Paul and Madison Street. Thank you. Two of them are in the planned use map for commercial, and three of them are not. So they had the town council had asked us to look at that. So we're going to hold a public hearing on the 14th, and then as Ms. Edwards said, Chick-fil-A and Sheetz are going to be giving us their final look through, I believe, the final papers to us, and I think we're holding a public hearing for them on December 7th. I believe it is.
A joint hearing.
Joint hearing. Yeah. That's it.
Wait, can you explain the three small houses on Washington Street?
Yes, sir.
What about them? They're
And the
Rezone.
rezoned to commercial right now.
Well,
They're
we're not going to rezone them. The landowner would have to come and rezone them, but within the planned land use map, we have to put in there that they can be commercial. And so then at that point, once we make that amendment once we make that recommendation to the town council, they will then vote upon it. And at that time, each one of those owners would have to come before and then ask for the rezoning.
I see. Yeah, so right now they're residential. Okay.
Planned residential.
Planned residential, yes.
Once either our zone commercial is Madison Shops on the corner, and the Blue House is boarded up right.
The one right next to it.
The rest is zoned and planned.
questions? Okay, we'll move on to new business. I do not have any new business to present. Does anybody have any suggestions for new business? Okay. Moving on, old business. First thing on the agenda is the town government facade renderings. Marchant, you're back up on stage.
I didn't look through the minutes. And there was a summary of John's discussion in the minutes.
I don't believe it was.
Yeah, there were a few things in here.
I'll just refer you to that to see what direction you're in. I'm drawing a blank. There was the three kind of drastic, the three very different sides that they put together, but the general agreement was on the Federalist style.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember there was some questions about bringing the dormers
Yeah.
down. And so I believe these are the three concepts that he's come back with for review. So we have 1, 2, and 3.
I like 2 without the racing stripes down the brick.
Correct. Me too. With 2, the pergola could be swapped in. I have a concern with those dormers because of how low the pitch on the roof is so narrow that these will actually look like spikes sticking out because of how long they'll go back.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, 57 Chevy tail fins.
No, I know what you mean.
Really low, I mean, it looks great from the facade
front
here,
look, yeah.
the drawing, but in real life.
From the side, it's going to be.
Right.
The problem with dropping this one is you're reducing it over a window.
Correct.
Upstairs.
Those two, right.
That's more of
Well, I definitely would like the other entrance way.
On the bottom, on
the
2.
bottom.
Is there anything endearing on elevation 1 that you like?
It's very white.
Yeah, it's too white.
Too white.
We need something breaking up the color.
But architecturally, is there anything we like about that?
Oh, that, I see what you're saying.
They're kind of narrowed down.
It's got the same elements across all of them.
No,
No,
it
the
has,
windows are different.
it has different,
You like the half moon window?
yeah.
Yeah.
No, it has the different in the, I can't even think of the word. My mind is so blank. No, not above the main entrance, on the 2 sides. It's not a circle. John, follow me here. On the all white.
Half circle windows.
The windows?
That.
Yeah, the windows.
Those are elliptical and the other ones are round.
Right.
Or oval or.
Yeah, but I look at those elements as, pick and choose elements.
That's kind of, I think we're at that minutia stage.
Yeah.
So,
It seems to
But
me
we
that
have-
if you were going to take the dormers out, that you might add the larger accent.
What if you had the door frame on number 3 here? The one that's in Marchant's hand. That door frame from number 1 over here
On 3.
on 3.
sounds like the baseline is 2, or elevation 2.
Well,
Baseline 2, I don't
there
really
there are
care for
too
the
many
pillars.
pillars.
Yeah, I don't care for the
That's why I
we
said
gotta
take
break
the
up
racing
pillars.
stripe.
That's a good suggestion.
Yeah.
Let's start top to bottom. Let's start
Okay.
with the roof line. So the roof lines, you have the dormers, the ellipticals versus the rounds. As the, what you call that?
I like the 3 roof with the,
Yeah, I was calling it pergola, cupola.
I'm sorry, say that again.
I like 3's roof with the, what did you call those windows?
the elliptical.
The elliptical windows.
Yeah, I agree.
I was just going to point out, I mean, so obviously the skeleton of all these buildings are the same. He's using the
Right.
same roof pitch and so forth. Because I talked to him a little bit, last time. just, the possibility of like maybe raising the roof pitches, or not, he's chosen not to, which, it's gonna be a lot cheaper not to.
Right.
Where they are. Makes sense.
I think the council has directed him within constraints
Okay.
too, so.
Yeah, I've shown these drawings to some folks I know, and well, my family is as well. And actually, I was kind of surprised. No one seemed to be worried about the large expanse of white.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of big on breaking it up. Which
I think we all are, though.
But again, when I was showing it to people, they seemed like it was all one big, stately building when it was unified with white. So, which actually got me to thinking, based on what you were talking about, last time we went over there, we walked around, the possibility of just keeping the existing brick, but painting it all white. I mean, just so it's all unified brick. You'd have to fill in, where you cut the arches and so forth. And breaking in that doorway on the far side over here, it wouldn't be completely free, but it was just some of the thoughts that I'd had. But I was just letting you know, it seems like not everyone is so worried about the large expanse of white. So no, I guess I still kind of like the breakout.
See, I like the two sides, I think, on one, the way the sides are,
Without the pillars?
without the pillars down down the middle of the sides, Marshawn.
If you compare, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying?
See these right
See,
here?
Marshawn?
You have these middle pieces. She said
I don't like
she
those.
likes it without it. So actually, both of those.
Actually, I like
those.
Right.
that.
Yes,
If we take that and put it there.
but take the pillars
Pillars
off
off.
the,
Yeah.
One of the things that I think he was trying to do here is this was going to come out, project some, and give you a place to stand.
like a
before each
portico?
one. Yeah, now, of course, it was tricky because there's not a lot of space, at the street
Mm-hmm.
level. So you couldn't have, columns out there.
But you could still do that with two.
Right to the sidewalk. Like how the walkway ends when it comes in, because it's not going to be that much, but you could still have something that would go from the sidewalk, the parking lot sidewalk to attached to the building.
Oh, I see. Well, yeah, this would be a little more problematic doing that. I mean, you could do more of a little shed or something, just maybe a foot or two.
Marshawn?
What's interesting about these two is what I showed John was you can see when you go into where the very thing for her was, they pulled off all the walls, and you can see the old
building.
building. So it was almost as if we're all this replicates basically that we're three buildings. And when you're in this end where the very thing for her was, you can see the outside wall where the old doors used to be and windows used to be. So what was interesting about this is you could still break it up, and so there's still some
remembrance of when Gosselin
some-
built it.
some
He
accom-
built
yeah,
it.
there's some accommodation. Well, why is it broken up to be like that? Well, interestingly enough, it actually used to be three buildings, but we brought it into a. So I think there's some value into breaking up the facade that way. But going back to John, what's a good way to attack this? Is it starting from the roof and then just going down with the elements, or
I suppose.
so? And I can mark this. This is extra copy, so I can mark it up. It seems like maybe the elevation two is maybe. Anybody, you guys get introduced to this gentleman? I'm sorry.
Hi there.
Good evening, my name's Matt Rose, I'm over at 6650 Huntington, and Nicole and Sean, my neighbor, so they invited me along by to check everything out.
He's interested in maybe being the early.
Very nice.
I'm just going to offer, maybe you want to sit over this way and see the discussion.
That'd be great.
Remember the public, that's the challenge of this thing. Is that okay, Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
So,
Well, I'll just say that I was up at the Giant at Dominion Valley, and they like their cupolas over there. You know what? I do too. They look really nice, actually, and I think there aren't any buildings in town with cupolas, so I think this would be a real nice place to start.
to set it off. I mean,
Yeah.
it sounds like it'll be maybe a little bit shorter than the museum. Would it compete with some of the questions we had before? Would it compete with the museum?
I think they're
I don't
two
think it
different
will.
animals. I think they're completely two different animals.
Yeah, the way that that's looking, I think
Element
that.
we like?
Yeah.
It also sets it apart from, your, a residence, this isn't a really large house, and that kind of
Yeah.
says, it could be a house. So,
How about the, as a tie-in to what you're doing elsewhere on the design?
I like that one.
I like-
one.
I like one. If one was attached to three,
Right.
so you like this
Yeah.
elliptical thing,
That
so you
whole-
like
section.
the whole, so you like the non.
No,
No,
not
no,
that
no,
part.
not that
I'm
part.
starting with the roof line.
Yeah, not that part, just the roof part.
You like this roof without the,
Yes, without that.
the element?
Mm-hmm.
No, I kind of prefer the other one, but that's because I like the flatter doorway. And
But do we
this
have to
kind
keep
of
the
ties
doorway?
into the half circle on the center doorway.
But you
to
have
that element.
the arches over the windows as well on the bottom.
Like this ties in
Even-
with this element right here?
Yeah.
Yes, but
What
it
if we
also,
take that door and attach it to?
No.
Or you cannot?
Do you see on the windows? On the bottom, there you go, Marshawn.
This still has that arch element over here.
Yeah, a little one, yeah.
But I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Can we pull from pictures to attach it to others? To
That's what-
kind of
that's what we're
combine-
doing.
Oh,
That's
okay.
what we're doing.
Okay, so so then that's
Are
what
you failing, Marshawn?
Then that's what I was going to ask, if we could take that doorway from number one with the way that, the structure, that whole door, just the door, and then attach it to where number three is.
Yep.
How do you think that would look there?
Probably, be fine, I suppose. I wouldn't mind seeing this from the side, see exactly
Yeah.
the plan. But
Yeah, I don't like it flat
You don't really
on.
explain it. I think these are like larger brackets. I think the.
I think the
posts
columns
up
are out, and then there's like a roof
Well,
that you,
No, actually, I don't think they're out. I don't think they're out very far because, again, there's only 4 feet of sidewalk there. So I think these were flat up against the building, maybe 6 to 8 inches sticking, but attached to the building, and that these are actually brackets that were protruding a little further out.
so they're not true pillars. You do not believe, and a
No,
portico
no,
underneath there.
A column is separate, is its own freestanding. When a column touches a wall, it becomes a pilaster.
So you don't think that's a true column sitting out away from the
I
building?
do not believe it is.
Well, I think all
It's a half column basically fixed in the middle.
Yeah, I think all the columns on here are pilasters.
Correct.
Really, yeah.
Correct, yes. So, and then but he's also trying to get this protruding from the building to, shelter people, and also to kind of make the entrance a little more dramatic.
Yeah, I think
Look at
these
the
with
portico.
the rounded bases there, or the rounded,
Now,
more of a safe kind of.
I mean, we can have, I don't know how much we want to go into it. I mean, one of my little bugaboos, I guess, pet peeves, I can show you plenty of examples in the area that it works just fine. But, again, having spent time in design school, I am not a fan of mixing my arches. Like, see, he has a Roman arch, a half round arch here, and then he has this elliptical arch here. I just like to keep it, like for example, here, I would, see if I were doing this, I would have my half round arches down there, and then I would have a round
Completely round?
circle bullet hole there because it's basically 2 half rounds.
Right.
Okay.
Right? Again, that's just kind of keeping it pure. I do that kind of stuff. But again, there's nothing wrong. I can, plenty of 300-year-old examples of them doing this, and it's great. So I'm just throwing that out there that I would prefer.
Is there a general direction you want to
little
go
round
on the
windows.
dormer features?
Yeah, I like those, but, because I think it mimics the little palladium over the main floor windows.
So maybe we can come
That's
back to
just
that
me.
element. Maybe the next focus should be the main building. Generally, the middle should be brick, set off differently.
I like the brick.
That takes us to these two. And then, I guess, running down that element, thinking about the door style, is the preference to have 3 windows versus 2 and have a larger
Entryway.
entryway, or have a more boxy like this, where you kind of have symmetry across the. This kind of calls attention to
The main entrance.
right?
I feel like it adds more interest and it's not just repetitive
Now,
to.
this Ram's head is flat up against the wall.
Mm-hmm. No, I
It
got
would
that.
have to be, otherwise it would be a water problem up there at the top.
Yeah.
So their preference to.
4 windows or
I
5
guess that's
windows?
directed by which entrance you like, I guess.
Yeah, but basically, on these two, he's removing that, on these two, he's removing that center window to make room for those two.
For the peak, yeah.
I think we're all in agreement. 4 windows.
4.
4. 4.
4 versus 3?
That's fine. 4.
4 versus.
Excellent.
What?
Versus 5.
It's like, where's there 3?
Calm down.
Yeah.
It's 3, Daddy.
Okay.
So this general, so then it becomes, brick middle, 4 windows, no matter which entrance is sort of more Federalist, so this seems to pop out as more of a Federalist style. But that one over there.
I'm not so sure, I mean, how successful this is. I mean, I know what he and I were trying to
Accomplished.
accomplish, but you can't really congregate and stand there. If it's raining, it's not really a area to loiter because it's.
I don't like that on number 3, go to the front door, Marchant, and the light up, what do you call that, across the top of the door, the transom, thank you, I couldn't think of the word, across the top of the door, I don't like that that's flat, and then the transoms on the windows on the main floor.
Yeah, I mean, all the.
Do you see what I'm saying,
All the
John?
windows have a
Yeah.
curve on them, and then that one's totally squared.
Well, I'm not, yeah, actually, that's a good question. I'm not sure how he's achieving this, if that is breaking the plane of the flooring. Let's just say that is the.
Oh, you're right, see?
flooring.
Fake
Is he
window.
gonna be losing space above that with that? I don't
Yeah,
know.
same thing over here.
No, because here he's going straight across.
The door is lower, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know how he's doing that.
That's why I was,
But I would suspect he's actually gonna be cutting into the roof, but that would make that much more
Could you
expensive
do
if
the,
he's
could you do
doing
the
that.
transom here and then just do the larger doors? Or would that look silly?
I mean, can you put the arch of that door on that door? I mean, is that what we're talking about?
yes,
And the center
yeah,
one?
that's what you're talking about, Robert.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
is that better? I mean,
Yeah.
it could be, basically be
Yeah, I
achieved.
see what you're saying. Again, see, that goes back to what, I wouldn't do, but please, you all can, if it's a preference.
You're
But
the architect.
see, he has
Yeah.
these, had the half round windows here, and then right next to it, he has this, it's called a segmented arch, because it has verticals here and here. I just wouldn't do that. It's a,
Well, what would
What
you
would
do?
you recommend?
well, I'd either leave it flat, or I'd have it a half round.
But like you
But
said, the
I'm not
half
sure
round's
the half
gonna,
round actually fits.
it's not gonna work.
If it, without breaking into the roof.
Another distinction is this is, it's red brick with keystone, and over here
No,
it's
it's
white,
just
and I'm
white.
not sure why he did that there.
Yeah.
So it sounds like we're still heading with this concept,
Yeah.
and we go in this direction with this entry feature, with some discussion, I guess, refinement of the door.
Sure.
Yeah.
The
Cupola.
Cupola.
cupola, thank you. I guess the next thing to decide on was you have the multiple columns along the flanking buildings, and this one you have on the brick.
I don't think anyone, from what I heard, I don't think anyone liked the racing stripes.
No.
Yeah, on the brick, no.
I don't mind them on the ends of the white, like on the, but I don't like them down the middle.
Or you don't like these.
Yeah.
I agree.
I agree.
I don't mind those.
I don't mind them. They're actually, they don't work perfectly because then you kind of want the windows nice and even. You know.
Yeah, and they're not.
And they're not, because that's the beauty of an addition when you're working with existing.
No, you'd have to.
That's what I was trying to go with.
Yes.
Yeah.
So kind of combination between that one and that one.
Yeah. Again, I don't mind them in the fact that they're a little fancier when you add more. It sets it apart from, again, not being a residence.
Not look too much different with that.
There you go.
Oh, wait now.
That's the idea.
I like the columns myself.
Now
Well,
I'm
I kinda
thinking,
do
does
too,
it look
myself,
too, does it
but-
look too
I'm not a big.
flat?
Yeah.
Now that you removed it, it looks, it looks flat.
It does.
When you put one against three.
When you just.
it
When
gives
you
it
just
like
did
a-
that.
When you
Do
just
that
did that,
again.
it gave it more of a, just a flat. So now I understand why he did put the columns there, because it gives it a little bit of a contrast.
Interest.
Yeah, it makes it a little more interesting.
That's actually true. Here you had the three-dimensional feature here happening, and therefore that could be a little flatter.
Yeah.
Here, if you're not going to do something like
You
that,
need to have
Yeah,
that
we
on
need
the
to have
outside.
something. Yeah.
Yeah.
something that pops.
Did he by any chance do any renderings of the
The size.
Jefferson Street side?
No.
Since that's
I
a
think-
prominent face as
I
well.
think, I remember the discussion was to keep the, I'm not sure, what is it called?
The peak.
Gable.
The gable, the side gable.
Yeah.
There was some discussion that can take it off, and the discussion, no, keep the side gable.
Yeah, I'd keep
I would
it.
assume this architecture would shift around, and then you just,
Yeah.
facade.
Well, yeah, that gable here does exist, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And he says he's actually adding this one to it.
Yes.
It'll be just falsely framed over top of the existing.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I forget. Thank you.
Okay.
Actually, he has the.
What would it look like if you put round accents in the gables?
What it looks like now? It fell into the water. It fell out of my car.
Just didn't fall in the toilet. We're good.
It hit the ground for like a second, and yeah.
Okay. So.
So, John, what do you think about that?
Keep the columns in?
I'm not really leaning one way or the other, so that's not a breaking point for me.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards it. So actually, I mean, it seems like this elevation
In
is
general.
sort of winning
Yeah.
all over.
But, John, what if we made those things in the gables circular? How would that change? Would it change the look, or would it?
Yeah, I mean, well, that's something we can easily ask him to see. You know, hey, can you, I mean, these are really small little changes we're talking here. He can easily show us an elevation with the,
I think that the building is so long that if you had something that had a little rounder to it, it might lift it up this way. I don't know. You see what I'm
he
saying?
also might have felt that but he also might have felt that the round ones didn't fill up that space enough.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Because it's such a shallow pitch. This might have been what he was thinking. I think either one would be fine.
Yeah, I like the door on the one on the right.
Yeah, it all depends on the,
I don't know, that's just
peak
me.
of the,
I like that door better, but
I like that door too.
do you?
That door on 3.
We kind of like, I mean, if I'm interpreting it, we kind of like the federal look at the top. We just don't like the transom, right? We like the transom of the one on the right, but we like the top of the door
Say we like this.
in the center. Yeah,
Blocked nature of the.
we don't like the block. If I'm interpreting right, tell me if I'm wrong.
I don't know. Could you get your scissors out and cut that off and put it on the building?
I can.
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it is about it that I like, but
Well, I mean, we can narrow this down because really his time, it's just a cut and paste and print off type of deal. But, as long as we narrow down to pretty much the major features, we should be good. I would assume.
Yeah, so the only difference really between the two is,
Cupola?
door and removing the, columns.
to me, I think the door on this one looks more substantial to me for some reason.
And which ones?
This one. Yeah.
Yeah. Because of that little window over the
Do you
door
think?
on 3 is square, or rectangular. And then you have everything else above the windows are like a half circle. And that one just flows better with, 2 flows better with that style.
They might look better switching them out. So, elevation 3, I guess, are we still back on 4 windows? Or are we thinking different?
Well, you'd have to have something up there, don't you think, if you didn't
Well,
have
you need some type of detail. You either
Yeah.
need to substantiate it with the doorway topper, or flatten it out like on that one and put the window over it.
I mean, that's not sure with this symmetry that you got a triangle, 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 triangle. So you got this kind of effect.
like in the kitchen where you're supposed to have the triangle for your appliances.
I don't know if that's, okay, it's probably part of the purpose of the triangle.
I can talk to him, and we can see. It might be doable. I mean, you could argue that if you have these ovals here, to have a half oval here, which is more like what you're having there. So it'd be very similar to that, except it would be this, and then you still keep those, and that way you're not introducing this segment.
Different shape, yeah.
See, this is nowhere else, has nothing to do with anything else in the whole project.
Yeah.
So that's what my only issue there is. So maybe a small change like that, like taking this window and adding it there.
If you did this,
Right.
It looks plain.
Yeah, well, then you'd want to put your other window back in there.
But then again, it still looks plain.
I mean, can you put the arch on that window with that design? Is that that's what
You
would
probably,
do?
you probably could do that too.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you probably could even, you're right, take a transom, an elliptical, transom, and even put it on that detail. It may not be quite as common, but it's perfectly doable.
the consensus to go with which type of door on option 3. What's going to happen is,
That's a tough call.
we're going to take it back to him, and then at some point they're going to fit. This is still informal. They haven't officially submitted their application.
I'd just say we don't like the door. Fix it.
Yeah.
Give us another option. We don't like the door.
On the door. Well, the thing is, do we want to nail it down to 2 top windows or 3 top windows?
Well, it depends on if he comes with a
Well, it
fabulous
depends on the door.
idea. I mean,
It really is going to depend on the door. What style he's going to have for the front door. Are both doors open? Do they both?
yeah, one's in, one's out. Yeah.
Yeah, one's going to be locked, one's going to be an open door to come in and out.
Not what we can put away.
Yeah.
So the debate is 3, but work on the door feature. What about is the type of door going to drive whether or not they have these columns?
Columns are gone.
Columns are gone, yeah, no columns.
So it's really is a debate about is elevation 3 with an alternative, depending on the style, either you put the third window back in or not. And then the general desire to have some sort of, you be able to talk to John about? The architecture speak. And we're comfortable with the columns?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
They have this dental molding all along here,
Yeah, you can't really see it from there. We can see it on ours.
and then you can revisit over here, this element.
Yes.
Any direction on how to, what you're gonna wanna see the Jefferson Street facade. Any direction on how to handle that, makes it mimic this?
You know, when I look at it on this, it doesn't bug me as much as it bugs me on
What's that?
the front door.
I kind of see your point.
Right?
Yeah, for some
When you
reason,
look
it's right in
here-
front of you. Yeah.
But when you look at that picture, it just kind of looks,
See a little more
but I think the
detail.
detail on
Yeah.
here, when you can see it. Yeah.
What you're saying is, when we're seeing it here right in front of us, we're seeing a little more detail that we can't quite see.
See, I have no clue what the side's going to look like. He said it's going to kind of look the same, but is it going to have the same window patterns and just a
That's what I
door
was
in the
asking for,
center
direction.
window?
I would assume you would wanna wrap this architecture around the side,
You see what I'm saying?
have a door for the police,
Doesn't
so
bug me
you
as
probably
much
have
because
to
you
have
can
some
see
sort
the
of,
detail.
Yeah.
I don't know,
Only
it's,
thing
like I said, maybe kind of,
Yeah, well, I don't really, I don't have any concept of the dimensions of the side. Are we looking at about a square building? For that piece, square, about the same distance? Because if that's the case, then we can mimic it.
This was what his side was before, and he did not have
Isn't
the
gonna work. It's gonna be
closed
so expensive
gable.
because
We call this a closed gable.
Right, and we are going to
Here
probably
it's-
keep
it's
the closed
open.
gable?
We can, or.
that's what it was, you said, you guys said no, keep the closed gable, that's what it was.
No, keep and ways to keep. Now, it's open now, I believe, and I think.
Yeah, it is
I think-
open now.
I think y'all were talking about keeping it open. And I think the only thing we talked to him about was possibility of putting a little shed or something, shed roof over top of this door.
Yeah.
Or
Just
some kind of
to-
something, a little portico, something, so people could be out of the weather when they come in and out.
The direction would be,
Or is that where they stand and
there's
smoke?
some measure maps,
So I was thinking that
elevation,
might be-
and basically have them put together something logically that ties into
Yeah.
the other
I'm okay with that one.
on it. We don't have none is worth getting into whether this is brick or white, not.
It looks better in this picture.
I'm not sure what he was doing there. I think,
One's just a tack on, the other one's actual brick.
right.
So,
How could you tell?
say that one more time.
No, I just said, how could you tell about,
The two side windows to the main entrance.
okay.
You see how the arch,
Oh,
keystone
okay.
arch is a brick?
Yeah.
And then the other one is just kind of like a fake arch.
Yeah,
Okay.
like-
It's tacked on.
Piece of wood, yeah.
That's tacked on.
I'm totally random.
Yeah.
I'm assuming these are fitting in the existing window,
Yeah.
kind of hard because of the,
The trusses?
trusses. What's on top of most windows?
The soffit?
When you're building a house and you have that big piece
header.
of the header. Sorry. I don't know if it's limited by headers or not, but would we want, are these windows scaled correctly or are they too small for the?
I think
The top
we've
windows or
already
the-
putting larger
If
windows.
you go out there right now,
I think
the
he
top
is.
windows, they're 6 inches below the actual header.
Correct.
I guess when we had replacement windows, we did one of the custom ones.
Just
Big
did
up.
standard.
So here, we're going to be going into the building facade to put in the
question.
I mean, I assume these are identical, what I'm looking at here, but for some reason it looks,
Yeah,
Right?
look the same
Right?
size.
Because it's on 11 by 17, probably.
yeah, no, I mean, it's, I guess it's an optical illusion, but yeah, that looks more square than
Right.
what I'm looking at here.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it's not identical, I don't know.
And most windows kind of closer to the floor, but I don't know if these are. It's random thought.
But they don't, that's square from here. I need to go to the doctor.
See what I'm saying here? This seems closer to the floor.
Yes.
Yeah,
This seems
They're
higher.
floor-to-ceiling windows.
Yeah.
Well,
Like
what-
you would
what
have-
What he did is he's making room for his little
Arch.
arch
Oh,
on
okay.
top, so he pushed those down. And
But these are the same size windows, it's just the top
Yeah.
one does not have the arch, so it's lifted up.
right, and I think that if you put a much taller window here, it would make that window look a little funny. I think I'm okay with what it is. Because he's already cutting down, because I think the windows, the existing windows are even more square. And so he's actually cutting down below into the brick.
Openings, I think, match this. The windows themselves, they're vinyl
Oh,
windows
really?
that are square.
Yeah, okay.
So, okay, say this back again. Concept 3, revisit the front entrance.
I'm okay with the front entrance if it looks like that.
On 3.
Yeah, yes, say we're leaning very heavily towards 3 and maybe a few tweaks that he,
And what kind of tweaks do we want to put?
well, like I said, we can, see some doors.
Yeah, see some variation on the doors.
The door.
I just don't want to say fix the door and then I say, no, I like the one you had in the first
Yeah.
place.
Well, when we say fix the door, and put more.
Give us options on the door.
Yeah.
But then we gotta come up with, what are we leaning towards, right? We gotta give him some direction.
So I don't
I don't know
Target
how to
escape
give him
me right now,
direction.
but is it, we like more of, rather than the square door and transom, more of an angled general concept of having the style of arch on the top?
Because he gave us 3 styles of doors, so which one? So we were staying away from the other 2, and we're throwing the third one that we're liking, if that's what we are liking. What about it are we liking? What about it are we wanting them to change?
No, I'm leaning towards as that as is myself.
Me too.
So 2. I agree. That's 3.
I agree.
That's 4.
Either way.
What are your thoughts? No. What are your
No,
thoughts?
No, I'm good.
So what are you leaning? Are you leaning towards one of the other 2?
Oh, if I had to pick one, yeah, probably 3, I guess.
Okay. Miss Nicole?
I see benefits of all of them.
Nicole likes that door.
I do,
The
but,
far left?
but I like door 1, but
Okay.
with this, but
Feel
with
like
me
I'm
saying that,
What's behind door 1?
she did bring up the point about it would be cutting into the floor.
I'll ask him, I mean, it does appear
It does.
that's what's happening. And so I'm not sure, I think that would be much more expensive, and you'd also lose the use of this, he'd have to box out a little foyer area
Right.
then, or something to get that space.
And you know
Not
me,
exactly
I'm
sure
not
what
one
he's
for that,
doing,
so I won't.
so if we're
I
trying
mean,
to
I
decide
kind of
which
like
one,
that door, but
This one,
But depending on how it's fitted.
The door itself or the door and the architectural feature above it?
no, I like it all.
All of it.
And with this kind of sharp angle? Oh, I should have said that one. I mean, that's
Yeah.
the angle.
Did you get? You know, I was like,
I'm
Yeah.
sorry. So, maybe
So,
half
well,
angle.
so I guess my question to you all is, how strongly or not do you care about the idea of this protruding to
Out?
Yeah.
no, I don't care at all.
I don't either.
Okay, and in which case, probably not. Then we probably should.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Flat
just
as
stick
it
with
is.
3.
Yeah, to me, if you want something protruding, I'd go with that one.
Oh,
But if not,
oh,
I'd go with the
I
second.
answered the wrong question. That's not what I thought you were saying. I thought you were asking me if I cared if it protruded out, and I'm like, no, I don't care if it protrudes out.
Well, how important is it? Is it a favorable condition for
I just think
something
it
to
breaks
protrude out
up
to
the
give-
flatness of the front of the building.
Because actually, these facades are only what, like, a couple inches. I mean, like 4 inches.
Correct.
Like the width of the brick, really.
Mm-hmm.
And this one is recessed, correct?
Well, it's a cinder block with a brick.
Facing.
Correct. But right now, these are protruding past this one. This one's recessed between these two. Is that correct?
It sits back a little bit.
That's what I'm saying.
Because of the columns.
No, the existing, remember, they were additions?
Right.
But the
He's
new-
going to look. He'll be right back. He'll report back.
It's drawn right there. I mean,
I think it's all flat.
oh, we can't really tell.
Mm-mm.
You think it's flat?
Yeah, I think it's pretty flat.
Middle sticks out.
The middle sticks out.
Seriously?
Yeah, the flanks are back.
Oh, well, then that changes, huh?
So
That changes everything.
The middle can stick out with the four
Let's
inches.
start over.
That changes
The 4
everything.
inches, is that right?
Yeah, it's only like the width of a brick.
Oh, man.
So it's already broken up then.
Well, then.
Yeah. Okay, well, I think this is enough to give him,
Okay, so if the middle already sticks out, then what's the difference if you put a little portico on the front and accentuate the sticking out?
I think for a practical purpose, having some sort of cover to the entrance, stands off the entrance, with the original master plan had a formal entrance. It just allows some
Shelter.
shelter. I mean, you're not talking 20 feet like a hotel type thing.
Something you walk up, shake up your umbrella, walk into the building.
Well, we could actually ask him to see what a
That would
larger
look like on-
protruding portico would look like without the arch. Again, because the problem I'm having with this archway, I like it, but with the little barrel falls underneath.
You would have a flat,
is-
you would have a transom going over it.
My only issue, I like this, but my issue with this is that I'm afraid it's going to add expense, having to cut through the existing floor, and also we lose the space.
Beauty is very expensive.
This is true. But so then the question is, could we achieve something protruding out further that is more, maybe a slightly lower pitch, like maybe match that pitch?
That's
but
one
yet-
thing that
but
notes
yet
when you got
closed,
the
but
tri-peaks
it would be more of
there,
a
especially with
closed
the
little
cupola
Yeah.
over
triangle.
it.
Correct. Correct.
So you get too many peaks going on there, I feel. But
So looking at what's the correct term for the protruding?
Protruding up.
Portico.
Portico, it's sticking out there.
But with the less sharp angle, is that what you're saying? Kind of
Yeah.
like the,
Yeah, but you're right. See, that's why I like to see it, because you're right. Would that then look like you're a little baby one of these and then be too much?
Yeah, all these peaks, and then you got the cupola over top of it as well.
Why
So
couldn't
you got
you
another peak
do
up top.
like a flat, I can't think about that has a little railing around it. Do you know what I'm saying? Like a flat,
Sure.
just sort of,
Actually, that we haven't talked. You could actually
do that there.
cut that into a doorway and actually have it step out onto a little
Oh.
railed balcony.
I missed my calling. I should have been an architect.
Yours is architecture, so.
Even though it's probably a fake balcony because it only sticks out, 2 feet?
Yeah. But
It's a Romeo and Juliet balcony.
What's that?
There's someone in the 18th century that has that. Maybe it's the Gillens. The Gillens?
Pam Gillen?
Someone on Fayette has that feature. It's faux, but they have the front porch with the small railing on it.
And the interior of the building, and if you wanted to make it
Something.
so you could
Gillen's-
actually walk out
Gillen's
there
have
a couple feet.
Elevation
So
3.
the mayor can come out and address the crowd.
Santa Claus could wave at the holiday party.
Santa,
That's what I was
that would be
thinking.
good.
Put a
Right,
Christmas
Denise?
tree out there or
Santa Claus
something.
could stand up there and wave to the kids and throw some tricks.
Okay, that's a good option too. A portico with maybe a railing or entrance.
And it would also have the same bracket type,
Yes,
detail
yes.
to structurally support something like
Now
that.
I like that. Now I want to have 5 windows there now, if you think of that.
All right, well, I think this
Not a
is-
window, but
So it's a door.
That's
It's a door.
right.
Do you have to write all this down? How do you write it down? Any other discussion items?
No.
I think that's it.
Option
I'm
three.
good.
Look at
Option-
portico door.
Mm-hmm.
Portico door, which would either have some sort of railing feature,
Maybe a rail balcony.
a rail
A
balcony,
rail balcony.
rail balcony. And do we want to say anything about the door style?
No,
Rail balcony, so then we would put 5 windows in, right?
it would be a door, it would not be a window.
But it would look like.
It'd be a door.
It would look like
Yeah,
it
this-
with a
this
window, but it would be a
That
door.
existing window there would be cut into a
Portico
door.
with railing.
Because that window exists. In here, he's actually picking it up.
Correct.
And then wrapping the architecture around the end of the,
On the
Yes.
Jefferson Street
Yes.
side.
Jefferson Street. And do, want to keep it open?
Well, it's difficult, when you wrap it around, it's difficult. This has a good example of it, what we're showing here. You can kind of see, this is kind of like a plain face, but then when you wrap it around, you got, even the top windows have the circulars on them.
Right.
So, I mean, there are all kinds of options, and of course, it's not closed in. So I think with the circular windows up there, it does
It gives it a little more
give
interest.
that
Yeah.
interest to not close it in. So, it's kind of difficult to start explaining what we really want on the side since we don't have any examples.
And here he actually did put the round ones originally.
Oh, he
So
did,
he
didn't
obviously
he?
moved away from them.
But, yeah, I think something similar to what he already had on the original is
Yeah.
probably good. You guys can look at it. And
Yeah, I like that. With all the windows having, because it's the,
it doesn't have the closed-in.
And
Yeah.
it also adds a little more interest to the ends.
right.
It's not all the same thing.
But- So this has all the columns right now, the one we're looking at has all the columns. Would the columns also match on the side?
Yeah, well, what he would probably end up doing is partially closing it,
Okay.
like, and just like bringing that,
Okay.
bringing
Oh,
that
we're talking
feature
about
right
here.
there
Gotcha.
over just a few feet, not
Okay.
not all the way across, because then
No,
then you
but-
lose all your arch tops. But if you bring it over a couple of feet, that gives you an excuse to put to then bring that second column
So it's almost
over
like putting it in
the pilaster. Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
these
kind of
would
like my
be-
garage.
Yeah.
Submission have a Jefferson Street facade
You know.
that leaves the dormer somewhat open, but match the design on this one. Is that where we're going with it? Okay. So it would be Denise having him look at perspective design 3 on his September 25th submission regarding the Jefferson Street facade. Perspective design 3, 925. Cool. Any no comments on the shutters or anything?
Nope.
That's good.
Wasn't too painful.
So it's not 5 windows, it's 4 windows and.
I'm sorry. Would be 5 windows on perspective 3.
4 windows and a door, right?
Is that?
4 windows and a door
Or would a door
2 doors.
in the center.
on top of the portico
Right.
that's railed. Basically,
He's going to read that and say, what?
Yeah.
you've done. Okay.
You put in parentheses, call John.
That's fine.
And close, okay with lights. This is a standing seam roof. Is that okay? All the elements are okay?
That's gone perfect.
The light in there, like a light.
That's right.
Nice.
I was thinking a clock, but
Well,
Or at
I
least
was
some access to light, so.
I was kind of wondering if it's, I mean, maybe it's a bad idea, but the what do you call that again, at the top?
Cupola?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, is it possible to open it up so that during the daytime, it actually lights the interior of the building? I mean, that's going to be kind of a lobby area, if I remember the architectural drawings of the building.
I mean, like a skylighty.
Like a
Right.
skylight?
We only had first floor drawings.
Elevation.
Right, there
We
you
only
go.
had the
But it
first
doesn't-
floor. I don't think that
That's-
was the
that's-
second.
Does it open up?
Isn't that,
I think it's on
roof?
it's on one level.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. So
We have a lobby in this space that goes all the way to the back of the building.
mm-hmm.
But there's definitely a
there's
floor.
It's one story, it's a one-story lobby, it's not.
Yes,
It's
correct.
And again, that's why he would have to
Okay.
cut his vestibule. Well, he did have a little vestibule, so I guess he was just gonna box out that vestibule. But you would, in this option, you would lose a room.
Okay.
Yeah, it would be cool, that's what you're saying, an open air, lobby.
But if it's only one story, then,
Well, again, depending on what is happening up
Right.
there, is there a little vestibule type lobby? I mean,
that's the
what's
question.
word I'm looking for?
Overlook.
Atrium-looking
Yes.
space up top. Yes, you could have a little light well
Right.
above you. Sure, that might be fine. Of course, there's other options here. I mean, I think we're good to start with, but then, is that octagonal? Is that a square with a little clock in it? Again, that's,
I've seen one of these on 15, the Amish place down on 29. Sorry,
oh, yeah.
Baltimore.
Oh, yeah.
Buy it from the Amish.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. We'll get back to you.
Hey, if you put your clock tower, if you put your clock in the cupola here, no one will be tempted to put one across the street.
That's true.
Thank you, Marshawn.
Thank you, Marchand. Okay, now we'll move on. Other old business, we have the ARB task list. Within the task list, I guess the only thing that we really decided on with our meeting is that we wanted to go forth with coming up with a design for the corporate limit signs.
Yes. And I asked at the council work session, Holly had approached me and said that she was going to reach out to the hallowed ground people and see if they would meet with us.
Yep, we had them come out previously, but since we pretty much have a fully new board here, it'd be best
Well, and
to have her.
she thinks that
come
that's
back.
changed a little bit too, so.
That's good. Last time they presented it, it was pretty rustic. I mean, it was
Yes.
definitely outside of what we were looking at doing. I mean, a little bit too much, but we'll see.
Okay.
It would be best to have them come back because, like I said, more than half the board has changed here, so it would be good to get a refresh of what they're doing.
Okay. All right.
Okay, well, that's all on the task list.
Motion to adjourn?
I have a motion,
I second that.
and I have a second. All in favor? Say aye. Any opposed? No? So we adjourn this meeting at 8:17.